Hello, hello, hello. How's everyone doing? Another week, another episode. This is Stats Over Politics. As always, I'm your host, Shaun, alongside my guys, Mr. Kevin Dent and Kaz Johnson of Just Casually. Jaevon Toddy will be joining us sooner rather than later, but we're back for another episode number 157. Kevin, I know that you're feeling a little under the weather today, but we appreciate you for joining us. Just how has the last month been for you?
Dude, I was just thinking that. I was like, damn, I haven't been on the podcast in so long. I was setting my equipment. I was like, geez, it's been a minute. I was looking at my notes. Last episode I was on, we were talking about Chris Paul to the Clippers. So it has been a minute. We were talking about in the group chat. It's been a busy summer for Stats Over Politics, but it is football season. So you guys will see us regularly. We're back in action. I'm happy to be here. A little bit darker for the audio or the audio only listeners. You can't see me. I was in the sun in Maui. With my 3-year anniversary with my wife, so I had a blast there. And like Shaun said, I'm a little under the weather, but the show must go on. So I'm happy to be back, fellas.
Yes, sir. We're happy to have you. Kaz, how are we doing today?
Not doing too bad, brother. Kind of a longer afternoon, but just glad to be able to get back here in time to make it. Unlike Toddy, you know what I'm saying? But regardless, nah, it's been good, man. Just been just enjoying football, man. I mean, Thursday night, a little bit of Saturday night, Friday or Sunday all day, and Monday. This is my Christmas, so this is what I do, and this is what I'm gonna do for the next about 4 or 5 months.
Yes, I am also very happy to have football back in our lives as week 1 in the NFL just came to a close on Monday night. And from Thursday to Sunday and even to Monday, we got great games all weekend. And so we're going to highlight the top 3 from this weekend, and then we're going to close things out with our quick rundown of the remaining NFL games from this past week. And so, guys, let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into it, as arguably the game of the week was on Sunday Night Football as the Buffalo Bills beat the Baltimore Ravens 41-40. And it was a hell of a game. I, for one, counted Buffalo out of this game. When the when the Ravens scored their 40th point of the game, I was like, all right, this one's over. Like, the Bills, they just want to hang in it. And then Coleman made that crazy catch in the end zone. I believe it was on 4th and goal, and he ended up catching a pass that was intended for another receiver, and a second receiver before him almost caught it, but then Coleman ends up coming down with it. The Bills don't get the 2-point conversion, and you're like, okay, is that it? And then you have Derrick Henry, who had a hell of a game. 31 years old, still elite. He had a hell of a game, but late mistake from him as he fumbles, left the door open for Buffalo, and the Bills end up winning 41-40 on a field goal by Matt Prater. I believe Matt Prater is 41 years old, and he ends up winning it for Buffalo when he wasn't even a Bill a week prior. And so just a great game as the Bills end up winning 41-40. They outscored the Ravens 22-6 in that fourth quarter, and we got to see a great duel of MVPs in this game, Kevin. And so just what was your reaction as you watched this great contest?
So, I come on here. Everyone knows when it comes to Lamar Jackson how I feel. So I'm gonna keep it nice. I'm gonna keep it PG. But the Ravens do what the Ravens do every offseason. We sit here on this podcast. We talk about them signing Roquan, them drafting a first-round receiver, them getting DeAndre Hopkins, them getting Derrick Henry. Now this summer we talked about Jair Alexander, who's one of the biggest free agent signings because the Packers just up and released him, and no one thought that was going to happen. We always talked about where he was going to go. Is he going to be washed? Is he this? Is he that? And unfortunately, when it came down to that play and he had to make a tackle, he got his ankles broken, and it didn't work out too well for him. All I'm going to say is the Ravens do this all the time, whether it's turning the ball over, whether it's not getting a stop. They get up big and they take their foot off the gas. And it's evident because John Harbaugh has the most fourth quarter blown lead, double-digit blown leads since the 90s. Like, that's how far you have to go back to find someone who has more double-digit fourth quarter blown losses. Ravens have now had 8 games since 2021 where at some point in the game they had a 90% chance to win the game. So they're finding ways to lose games. Shaun talked about it when the Ravens put up their 40th point. He thought it was over. When the Bills caught the first kickoff, they took it about 45 yards and they drilled down the field. I was like, oh, it's going to be a long night for Lamar. Josh Allen was clicking. Josh Allen was doing Josh Allen things. But for you to have Josh Allen throw for 150 yards, 250 yards in the fourth quarter. Yes, I said that correctly. The fourth quarter. For him to throw for 250 yards in one quarter, the Ravens defense just didn't show up. And when you have Super Bowl aspirations, we always talk about Lamar, and the Ravens have the best team roster from top to bottom in the AFC, but people always want to take them above teams like the Bills, above teams like the Chiefs. And when it comes down to it, they can't get it done. And yes, I'm going to come on here and commend Lamar. He didn't turn the ball over. I am famous for saying how many turnovers he has in a game. He didn't turn the ball over. Derrick Henry unfortunately fumbled the ball, and he said it. I had the best game of my life and the worst game of my life in the same day. But I think it really just comes down to 4th and 3, you punt that ball. As a Niners fan, as an Eagles fan, we're not punting that ball. There's no way. With all that time on the clock, you're not going to punt that ball. I get it. Lamar Jackson had cramps. Call a fucking timeout. You can't take him with you in the locker room. You don't give Josh Allen another chance. They literally created a new rule because he didn't get an opportunity. You don't give that kind of guy, the MVP, the ball at the end. Because when you do, they're going to drain it, they're going to knee it out, and they're going to kick a field goal to win the game, and you're not even going to get a chance to get the ball back. So looking back on it, 2020 vision, would they have tried to go for it? I guarantee it. But like I said, when you have a guy like Lamar Jackson, 4th and 3, Derrick Henry, one of the best O-lines in football, you put your head down and you do it. You know, whether it's a tush push, whether it's a quarterback sneak. We saw different varieties of quarterback sneaks. We even saw some tight end sneaks, you know, in shotgun with some of the games this weekend. You have to figure out what you're going to do to convert this because you can't give Josh Allen a chance. And you're better off going for it. And even if you don't get it, they get it on your 30, so they're close to scoring. You get the ball back. But just hoping your defense gets a stop when they haven't done that the whole game shows a lack of confidence. I mean, it shows confidence. You want to show that confidence in your team, but you have a really young defense, and it's showing. So the Ravens have a lot to bounce back from. To have a game like this and lose opening night in Buffalo, trying to avenge that loss in the playoffs. I know this hurts for Ravens fans, but the Ravens will do what the Ravens do best, and that's choke.
That's a great way to put it, Kevin, because I got to spend Sunday with my girlfriend, Allie, and it was our first Sunday football together. And she asked me before Sunday Night Football began, she was like, who are you picking in this game? And I was like, you know, that's tough. I think I'm going to go with the Bills. And the reason why I went with the Bills is what went through my mind is I thought about that Chiefs game last year and how they should have won that opener against the Chiefs, and they choked down the stretch. And even as they went up by 15 points in the fourth quarter, I thought it was over, but somehow they still found a way to lose this game. And they showed a stat during the game, which I thought was absolutely crazy. The Bills' last win when trailing by 15 plus points in the fourth quarter came in 1967 against the New York Jets. So it's been almost 60 years since the Bills have had a comeback win like that, and it had to come against the Baltimore Ravens, who love to choke. And last week on our NFL season preview here on Stats Over Politics, I believe 3 panelists had the Bills winning the Super Bowl. The Ravens winning the Super Bowl, and that was Keith, Jaevon, and Kevin. I believe, Kevin, you had the Ravens making the Super Bowl and losing to the Eagles. But point being, a lot of people had the Ravens going to the Super Bowl. And I was told that I was crazy for having the Bengals in the Super Bowl. That's something by itself. But the point is for the Ravens to get to that point, they have to learn how to finish games. And I have yet to see that from them consistently. And this opener, last year's opener, several games in between, especially in the playoffs, have proven that the Ravens, whatever it is, they just cannot finish games. And they cannot win another championship like they did against my 49ers in 2013. They can't do that. They can't finish games. And that, sadly, all leads back to Lamar Jackson. Like you said, Kevin, Lamar Jackson didn't fumble late in this game. Lamar Jackson played as perfect of a game as he could. Even overcame a stupid Bills fan trying to bonk his head right after they did to DeAndre Hopkins. And Lamar had to issue an apology about it today. And Lamar, he did everything that he possibly could in that game. But yet, like you said, Kevin, 4th and 3, they don't finish it. You put the ball back in the hands of the MVP. This is the result you get. But all of that said, Kaz, I know you've been very patient, and I appreciate it. Just what was your reaction as you watched this crazy Sunday Night Football game?
Yeah, just kind of annoyed. I don't like seeing if that result at the end, outside of the Bills winning, were to happen in we'll say an 11-game series, right? The Ravens win that 9 out of 11 times. So when it's a fluke like that, where it's like, yeah, we can give credit to Josh Allen's cool. But like you said, I mean, costly fumble by Derrick Henry. What else was there? Like I said, Lamar, he played phenomenal. Josh, obviously, he played insane. He put up more passing yards than anybody in week 1. And it was messy on the Ravens end, and it's, I don't know, it was just weird. It's like it kind of reminded me of just like the end of the Vikings game with the Bears, which I know we're gonna get to probably later on, but it's like we know the end result of those type of games more often would go the opposite way, but this was just one of those situations. And then I sit around and I see people just talking about how, great Josh Allen was, and the big plays that were made, and it's like, yes, that was a great performance. But like you said, we're not going to pretend like most of the viewers were checked out of that game pretty early on. Even Josh made a comment himself. He was like, hopefully next time the fans, stick around and, blah, blah, blah. At that point, it's kind of like, all right, well, are we really going to talk about how great the Bills are and how well they performed, or how bad the Ravens just did not close out for whatever reason, whether it be a coaching issue, whether it be the fumble, whether it be, some situational play calling when it's during a critical moment? I don't know. But looking at that game, and I think I tweeted it, I go, the Ravens were the better team. I didn't think Keon Coleman played out of his. He looked awesome. That was really cool to see. I'm a big fan of him, and I wish that he had more of a, I don't know, just a role, like a true wide receiver one role. I feel like that, they move the ball around quite a bit. The Bills did play exceptional when it mattered the most. So, I mean, kudos to them. But, man, like, it just – I ain't gonna lie, man. I lost a little bit of money on that, okay? So, I was just a little salty about how you just piss – I hate losing money when you piss away a win. That's all. So, shout out to the Bills. The Ravens will probably go on a streak here, win probably 5 or 6 straight. I still think the Ravens are the best team in the league right now outside of the Philadelphia Eagles. And, it's a team that I think should and probably will run the AFC. I think they have the best roster in the league right now. Defense, offensively. I mean, what more do they need? What do you need, really? They win that game. We're saying the same thing about Lamar that we're saying about Josh Allen right now. It's just one of those toss-ups, and it is what it is. But I will give some credit to the Bills. You still have to go out there and perform, and that's what they did when it mattered the most. They got Prater within field goal range. He was out there looking like, I think someone tweeted, he's out there looking like he's about to go on a campaign or some shit. I mean, he's just an old guy, and he went out there and did what kickers do. You make the easy field goal. So, yeah, shout out Bills, man. Shout out Bills. No hate, just more so disappointed in the Ravens more than I am hating on the Bills.
Yeah, that's completely understandable, and condolences for your lost funds there that the Ravens just bumbled away, quite literally. And for probably 31 out of 32 teams in the NFL, you drive down the field, once you get into field goal range, it's like, all right, let's just run out the clock, let the kicker come on and kick a chip shot for the win. I said 31 out of 32 teams because the one outlier there is the San Francisco 49ers with their former kicker, Jake Moody. And we will get to that a little bit later in our speedy Week 1 NFL recap. But that's all I could think about while the Bills got into field goal range is it must be nice to have a kicker that you can actually rely on. Even an old man who you just got off the street from Arizona that took a red eye, they could count on him. But as a 49ers fan, there's no way in hell I would have put the game on the line with a chip shot field goal in Jake Moody's hands, because we saw in Seattle how he had a chip shot that he clanked off the crossbar. And so must be nice. Congrats to the Bills. Kevin, you had more thoughts on this game?
Yeah, man, I didn't want to bring this up, but since we're talking about the Niners, so we talked about Jim Harbaugh having 7 most fourth quarter 10-point lead. You know who is second on that list?
Well, yeah, John Harbaugh is at the top of that list, and I'm assuming that Kyle Shanahan is second on the list.
With 6. Yes, he is. Shaun wins. I just wanted to bring that up.
Well, I can only blame myself for that because I took a AFC matchup and I found a way to mention the 49ers, and so I take that on the chin right there. I can't even be upset with you for bringing that up. As we continue here on episode number 157 of Stats Over Politics, Shaun Holko alongside Kevin Dent and Kaz Johnson. Guys, now let's get to another comeback win, and this happened on Monday Night Football. Going into the fourth quarter, the Chicago Bears led the Minnesota Vikings 17-6. Caleb Williams had Jaevon saying, "He's back. He's back. Here he is." And then JJ McCarthy was not good. But yet, JJ McCarthy, trailing by double digits entering the fourth quarter, went up to his team's huddle and he said to them, "Is there any place that you'd rather be right now? Cool, calm, collected, composed." And JJ McCarthy led the Vikings to a 27-24 win against the Bears in Chicago. He did it in his hometown. All the pressure was on him, and he handled it with ease. And I'm a diehard Ohio State fan. I don't like giving credit to any players that hail from the University up north, but it was deserved, Kevin. It was deserved in this game. You know, I would talk so much shit about JJ McCarthy, but in this game, he showed his moxie, and I really respect that because he had ice in his veins, and he outdueled Caleb Williams. And now there's a big question mark on Caleb Williams, just like we were talking about in the last game, how if the Ravens win that game, Lamar's getting all the praise. Instead, it was Josh. And in this game, Caleb was getting all the praise throughout the first half. JJ McCarthy was throwing a pick six and getting bashed. But then the fourth quarter came, the script flipped, and the Vikings end up coming out with a 27-24 win under the national spotlight, Kaz. And so what would you attribute for this game, Kaz? Would you say that the Vikings went and won it, or the Bears lost this one?
Now, this one's a little bit different than the Bills-Ravens situation. And it's because of the talent of the teams. The Bears are not on the same galaxy as the Bills or the Ravens. So for them to do something like, I guess you could say, piss away this game, they do things like that. So let's go back to what I said about the 11-game series. The Bears probably piss away this game 7, 8 out of the 11 times. It's what their identity is. And this isn't really a jab toward Chicago, but let's just be honest. Like, if you look at the history in the last, I think, decade against the Vikings, I think the Vikings have beaten them or only lost to the Bears twice. So, it's one of those things where it's where there's a will, there's a way. They're not a very porous organization. We know that. We still need to see more out of Caleb. I mean, he's coming off of a season where I think he got sacked the most. They're still trying to figure it out in Chicago. And the Vikings, I mean, some people don't believe in this, but I do. And maybe it's the former athlete in me, but even though these guys are getting paid millions, I'm telling you right now, if you put on a jersey that is known for losing, and no matter how good you are at a sport, you could be amazing. But if you put on a jersey where your team is known for losing, it does carry some weight. You feel it in the crowd with the fans. You feel it amongst yourself when you see yourself in the mirror. You just feel it. And this is a jab toward the Cowboys. I joke with my Cowboys fans or Cowboys friends all the time. I go, the reason why they choke is because when the lights are the brightest, they put on those helmets, they put on that eye black, and they look in the mirror and go, damn, are we going to be the Cowboys team to do it? Knowing damn well they're not going to be that team. And I know it sounds funny and I know it sounds crazy, but I'm being dead serious. I think there's a theme there. There's a trend there. When you represent an organization or a team, whatever, that is known for losing, when the lights are brightest, they're human beings. They feel that pressure, okay, are we going to lose again? Are we going to do this again? And I feel like that's just the Bears. That's just their demeanor. As for the Vikings, I can't say the same. Not early on in the season. The Vikings have had, I want to say, at least 2 to 3 winning seasons within the past 5 or 6 years, give or take. I know one year they were battling us up until the very end for the number 1 seed, and that was in recent years. So the Vikings, like I said, I think it was the last man, I wish I could remember it, but it was for sure like the last like 11 meetings. I think they've won like 9 times against the Bears. It was insane. So I just don't look at it the same way that I look at it when it comes to the Ravens-Bills game. I look at it as in the Chicago Bears, if they were going to put the game away, they would have did it early on. They would have put it away and kept their feet on their throat. And just you got JJ McCarthy there. The Bears defense was playing well the first half. They were all over the place, including a pick six. Like, you understand, like when teams get things like a pick six, unless the opposing quarterback is doing the same thing, they put themselves in a position to win. I think on average, I mean, you're not scoring more than anywhere between 20 to 24 points a game in an NFL game. That's like an average. So a pick six already puts you about a third of the way there to win a game. So with that being said, you get a pick six, you're at home. Caleb was running around like crazy. Caleb should have been sacked a dozen times. He was scrambling like, and he was turning shit, or like he was taking shit and making it sugar. And he was looking damn good. He really was. And then that fourth quarter comes around, and all of a sudden, here you go. And this is what bad teams do. Bad teams find a way to lose. I'm not saying the Vikings are a great team, okay? But I will say this. I've seen the Vikings win a lot more than I've seen them lose in comparison to the Bears. And I've seen the Vikings close out games more often than I've seen the Bears. So from an organization standpoint, and again, people will probably ridicule me all day for this mindset, but I believe it 100%. The Bears aren't a great organization yet. They might be great later on, but as of right now, I haven't seen anything in recent years at all that led me to believe that game was over up until the very end. Shout out JJ McCarthy, though. That fourth quarter was tremendous. He broke some record. I can't remember what it was. You guys might remember what it was, but he did something that's never been done, like the first quarterback ever in the first start to, what was it? Run for 2 touchdowns? I don't even know, but it was some.
I got you.
Yeah.
And thank you for bringing this up, because I bookmarked this, and I'm so glad that you brought it up. JJ McCarthy is the first player in NFL history to account for 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter of his debut.
Yes. And so I'm like, shout out. I ain't going to take it from him. Maybe he is that guy. You guys know I'm not big into college. I watch here and there, but I don't have no loyalty. I don't really understand these players till they get to the league. So I've heard some things about JJ. Tears ACL year 1, and then after that, you got people on my Facebook when I share my weekly picks saying JJ fucking McCarthy. You think that the Bears have to prove it to JJ McCarthy? Well, apparently they do, because look what just happened. So that's a big win. I want to talk more about that. That's a huge road win. The Bears had every which opportunity to win that game, and you had that guy rattled for a little bit in the first half. And again, he threw a pick six, which is, once a rookie or a first-year starter starts throwing pick sixes and starts getting sacked and things like that, usually you're in for a long game. For him to turn that around and to hold his composure, to get Jay Jettas involved late. I know he only had about 44 yards, but, he found the end zone, which was critical. Okay. Says a lot about the kid. And, I ain't gonna lie, as someone who doesn't know much about him and don't really care for the Vikings, don't really care for a lot of these first-year rookie quarterbacks, I'm excited to see what he does. This could either go one of 2 ways. Either he's just like a CJ Stroud type player to where he's going to come into the league first year and just impress us, or this game was a fluke and the Vikings are only as good as, the teams they play, and the Bears aren't a great team right now. So they luckily got away with the win possibly, but I say give it 5 to 6 weeks. Actually, this morning I was on a podcast with a Vikings fan, and I'll be posting that on my YouTube later, and he wanted to talk about it. And I said the same thing. I'm like, let's get to week 5 or 6. The Vikings have a very hard schedule. If you guys look at it, it's not an easy schedule at all. They got to see some really good teams, and their division alone is not an easy division right now. The Packers leveled up. The Lions, they might not be as bad as they looked in week. I think the Lions will be fine. But on top of that, you got the Bears, who I think it was last year. If it wasn't last year, it was 2 years ago, but I want to say it was last year. I think they played like 5 or 6 games, like down to the wire, and just lost. So last year. It's not like they're out there, doing what the Jags have done in recent years and the Colts and stuff like that. No. They're there. They just can't close out games. So that division is a tough one. And that was a huge road win. They needed that. The guy on the podcast I was talking to this morning, I told him, I said, you guys need to get to 3-3 by week 6. If you guys aren't 3-3, you might as well chalk it up, because the way your schedule's looking, I'm not sure if you guys have it in you to close out the season if you want to make it to the playoffs without getting at least two more wins within these next 5 weeks. So, yeah, man, shout out JJ, man. I mean, it was cool to watch. I watched every snap of that game, and it was exhilarating.
Yeah, and I think you really nailed it just when it came to which franchise you're playing for and the legacy of losing, because you put on a Bears uniform, especially as a quarterback, and there is just so much pressure being put on you. Like when Caleb Williams was drafted, people in Chicago were saying he's the chosen one. He's the one to save us. And he's not the first person that they've said that about. Even Mitch Trubisky, they're like, hey, he's going to be the guy to lead us back to the playoffs and to lead us to a Super Bowl. And then Mitch Trubisky was what he is. Caleb Williams was a blue chip prospect. He came into the league as the unanimous number 1 overall pick. I was talking with my friend Keith, who's been on this podcast multiple times now, and he was saying, you know what? Like, they should have taken Jaden Daniels. And I was like, Keith, even with hindsight, like, every team still takes Caleb Williams number 1 in that draft, even the Washington Commanders. But yet, so far, a year and a game into it, it's looking like Jaden Daniels is the better pro so far. So that's something that's really interesting about this. And Kevin, before I get your thoughts on this Vikings-Bears game, I wanted to get to a couple of comments here. As on YouTube, Uncle Manny says, glad you're back, Kevin. Have a great show. And cousin Marcellus says, cheers, fellas, to another week. We appreciate you, Marcellus. And now I just want to get to a couple comments from Instagram. I've had them going on the ticker at the bottom. As Terrence G says on Instagram, at Stats Over Politics, Skull! Then he says, Caleb not it. Apparently, J.J. McCarthy is Brady Jr., and a Super Bowl is incoming for the Vikings? I don't know, Terrence. I don't know about that one.
See, now this is what they got. They got this. Come on, brother. Just take the dub. Just take the dub, man, and just take the dub.
It's so funny because he's not the first Vikings fan I hear to say Brady Jr. And I'm just like, brother, I get it. You know, white man with Michigan. You know, I get it. I see it. I do. But it ain't that. So I know Shaun was going to pitch to me next, so I'm already going, so I'll just keep going. Alyssa has J.J. McCarthy on fantasy, so we were at the bar at the pool watching this game, so she wasn't paying attention. I was like, Alyssa, he threw his first touchdown. She goes, oh, my God. Who's it to? I said, the Bears. And she didn't really find that too funny. But J.J. McCarthy, man, came in there and did what he was supposed to do. You heard the coach after the game saying, this is the reason why you guys put a C on his chest. He's cool, calm, and collective. He's never too big. He's never too small. Those first 3 quarters, I was ready to turn the game off. I said, the Bears are just taking the foot off the gas. The Vikings can't do anything. 3 and out. And all it took was one Justin Jefferson gritty to change the whole game. But Kaz did a really good job of elaborating on why the Vikings did this. Let's talk about the Chicago Bears, specifically Caleb Williams and Shaun's guy, Justin Fields. Caleb Williams is now 0-3 versus his draft class. He lost 18-15 to Jaden, 19-3 to Drake May, and then Monday night losing 27-24 to J.J. McCarthy in his first game ever. So he had a whole year ahead of him and still ended up losing this game. The last 8 games with Justin Fields under center for the Chicago Bears went 5-3, and they averaged 25 points per game. The last 8 games with Caleb Williams under center, 1-7, 17.5 points per game. But I'm not going to sit here and blame Caleb Williams because I'm sure we all remember Tyreek Stevenson waving by to the crowd before they threw the Hail Mary, and they go. So there's a lot of unfortunate things that play into that 1-7 record. But I remember a year ago today, we were all, the 3 of us plus Toddy, were on this podcast saying Caleb Williams has the best situation as a rookie. You know, you got DJ Moore, you got Keenan Allen, you got Rome Odunze, you got DeAndre Swift, you got the defense, you got everything you need. You should be successful, and it wasn't successful. If you guys have been watching this podcast for a long time, when Caleb was at USC, his seniors last year, Toddy said he was a top 15 quarterback without taking one NFL snap. So to see, his career kind of play out the way it is, you can say, he leads the league in overthrows since he's been in the league his past 2 years. There's a lot of things that they have to fix mechanically, but this team's going to be good. This team's going to figure it out because they don't have a choice. Like Kaz mentioned, with the Vikings, if they're not 3-3, by week 6, it might be over. And the same with the Bears. We're going to talk about the Lions later, but the Vikings, the Packers just got Micah Parsons. Kaz and I can go on and on about Micah Parsons, unfortunately, because he was in our division, but now he is no longer in our division. So thank you, Jerry Jones, for that. But this division has arguably been one of the best in football for a while. Now that they legitimately have 4 playoff teams, Caleb Williams is going to have to go because, unfortunately, if he has another bad season, we could be talking about another Anthony Richardson situation where they bring in a guy to back him up. And I know a lot of guys didn't really notice this, but they signed their backup quarterback to a 3-year deal, fully guaranteed money. It's been talked about in training camp that Ben Johnson loves him. And for a coach to have that much confidence in a backup, Caleb wasn't his guy. So that's something that people need to remember. I get it. Caleb Williams supposed to be this, supposed to be that. They had a commercial with the Michael Jordan theme music. He was supposed to be this, supposed to be that. But he hasn't panned out so far. And Shaun has his face on for the audio only listeners. So I'm gonna pass it to him next. I can't wait to hear what he has to say.
I'm gonna push back a little bit on what you said about Ben Johnson and Caleb not being his guy. Like, I understand that Ben Johnson was still in Detroit when Caleb Williams was drafted, but Ben Johnson was also like the most coveted assistant coach for a head coaching job in the NFL. Like, the season before Caleb, or the offseason before Caleb got drafted, Ben Johnson easily could have had a head coach job, but he turned multiple down and he decided to return to Detroit. And so to say that he's not necessarily satisfied with Caleb Williams, that he may be already looking to Tyson Bagent, and like, I just have to say as a quick aside, Bagent's reaction to getting that 3-year, $10 million contract was so cool because he talked about like everything that his dad had been throughout his own life, and how now to have $10 million guaranteed to him was just like so meaningful to him. And he really took a moment to show gratitude for that. So I thought that was so cool. But it's a 3-year, $10 million contract. I don't really think it means much. They're just locking up their backup quarterback. Ben Johnson chose the Bears because of Caleb Williams. And so to say that, oh, he's not really his guy, I'm going to push back on that a little bit. And just to segue into a comment on YouTube, Cousin Cordell says, I think Ben Johnson is going to help Caleb a lot. And Cordell also says, I think it's just the Bears being the Bears. So, Kevin, did you want to jump back in?
Kaz, how would you feel if we traded for Sam Howell and signed him to a 3-year deal, fully guaranteed money?
Pissed.
Why?
Because first, that's a waste of money. And 2, we have the guy.
We have a guy. So why are you doing that? You can recycle backup quarterbacks like yesterday's cheese. Jameis Winston had been a backup quarterback for almost a decade. Shaun, if you guys got Mac Jones last summer and signed him to a 4-year deal after paying Brock Purdy, would you not raise an eyebrow?
Not really.
I don't.
You're just locking up. You're locking up your backup quarterback. And one thing I have to say about Bagent before Kaz jumps in is that it's not like they just acquired him and then signed him to that contract. Like Tyson Bagent, he was on the Bears before Caleb Williams was even drafted. And so like he's been in place. It's not like they acquired him like the Colts acquired a Daniel Jones, since you mentioned Anthony Richardson. But Kaz, go ahead and jump back in.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm gonna stick to my guns here. I think that man, maybe it's because we're blessed to be Eagles fans, and so therefore we do so many amazing moves when it comes to the front office and getting the right guys. But like, we remember the quarterback factory bullshit. We're going to get this guy, that guy, this guy. It's like, what are we doing, dog? What do we know all these damn quarterbacks for? What is this quarterback factory? What does that even mean? So with a guy like Caleb Williams, who is supposed to be a generational talent, I know we hear that almost every other year with quarterbacks, but I believe in Caleb. I do. I think he's going to be fine in the league. I saw enough this week 1, where I'm like I said, he was scrambling like crazy. Most quarterbacks would have been sacked probably 4 or 5 times in situations that he turned negative yardage into positive yardage. At one point, I went to Next Gen Stats, and I also noticed that he was one of the fastest runners to run the ball this last week too. So this is a guy who he does got a good arm. They are still rebuilding. They're still trying to figure out their identity. I think their defense can be somewhat legit. Their defense was, I get it. It's a rookie. I might be going back on my word when I say this, but I was seeing guys in that defense, like I'm talking, they had energy. I'm like, damn, like, whether it be a rookie quarterback or a first year quarterback or whatever. I'm like, bro, you got that Super Bowl guy, whoever the hell, I don't know who that even is. They're a linebacker all over the field, looking like miniature Zach Bond type shit. I'm like, he's in on every play. He's right there every time. He's out here celebrating. He's damn near forcing fumbles. I'm like, I don't know who that guy is, but I like him. Obviously, the pick six. And, the obvious one, too, is they dominated for 3 quarters. It's like that game could have, if that was a different team, a different organization, probably would have been a blowout. You know what I mean? So the Bears did lose in typical Bears fashion, but, like, when it comes down to it, I didn't see really any flaw out of Caleb besides the overthrown ball to DJ Moore, which if he would have caught that, they probably win the game. And then, again, this whole conversation is different. It's different, but it happens. I've seen it happen. This is only his second year, right? Or is this?
Yep.
Yeah, second year for Caleb. Sorry, I got to get my years together. Holy shit. Second year for Caleb Williams. It's like, man, there's guys who pan out later on, and he's still doing a lot better than, the Zach Wilsons. I think he's doing better than the Sam Darnolds. I think he looks better than even Bryce Young, who, yeah, Bryce did get thrown to the shittiest team in the league, but so did Caleb at one point, and they rebuilt around him. And even though he didn't have a 1,000,001 yards, do quarterbacks normally do that within their first 2 years? Highly unlikely. Jaden Daniels did it. Yes, that's called an anomaly. Outside of Jaden Daniels, who's the last quarterback to really do it? CJ Stroud. That's 2 quarterbacks. Then after that, or before that, who are the guys that really went out there and did it? Where it's like, whoa, you're NFL ready right now. You are the guy right now, and we're not jumping the gun. You look at CJ Stroud, sophomore slump immediately. Now, was there injuries? Of course, but still, he had a sophomore slump. We can't shy away from that. Justin Fields, already mentioned Sam Darnold, already mentioned Zach Wilson. Guys that were supposed to come in and completely flip their franchises. Nothing. Sam Darnold, by the hairs of his chin, had a phenomenal season last year and got him a job. That was not supposed to happen. That, you know what I mean? So we're talking about all these quarterbacks that have found ways to go out there and solidify a job or, showcase that they are still, they still got something left in the tank. They got a couple years to do it. So I'm not out on Caleb yet. I saw enough. I don't know if he's going to be phenomenal or one of the greatest to ever do it, but I think he's far from a bad quarterback. I'm still going to give him some leeway because you put somebody else on that. You put somebody else in that offense. Say you put like an actual shitty quarterback, like a Zach Wilson, or maybe like I'll call him shitty, a Trevor Lawrence, or who else is out there right now? I don't know. Last year, like an Aiden O'Connell or some bullshit like that. These guys are going out there and they're not even in that game. I don't think so. I give a little bit of credit to Caleb. Do I think he's reached his peak? Not at all. Not at all.
Before we move on, I'm not saying Caleb Williams is not going to be the quarterback. I'm just saying in today's NFL, you don't get 3-4 years to get it going. Kaz mentioned Zach Wilson, 2 years. Zach Donald, not Zach Donald.
Sam Darnold.
Zach Wilson.
Justin Fields.
Zach Wilson, 2 years. Justin Fields, out of there. Anthony Richardson, out of there. They're not going to sit here and wait because they took a number 1 pick with you. There's a lot of guys that continue to see that second, third contract, like the Kyler Murrays of the world. But a lot of guys don't get that lucky. If you're brought in to change a franchise, you don't have time to do it. So having them secure their plan B is all I'm saying is it raised an eyebrow. Because having a guy like Caleb Williams, you can draft a Kyle McCord, you can draft a 6th, 7th round quarterback to be a backup because he's a backup for a reason. But having a solidified backup raise question marks because a lot of guys in the NFL don't have solidified backups is all I was getting at.
Yeah, that's a fair point. And just because you mentioned for me personally as a 49ers fan, we're going to be seeing Mac Jones coming up on Sunday against the Saints in New Orleans. And so it doesn't hurt to have a decent backup quarterback. But I guess as a 49ers fan, I'll really find out whether he's decent or not in Kyle Shanahan's system coming up on Sunday against arguably the worst team in the NFL. So we will wait and see. But we're continuing here on episode 157 of Stats Over Politics. Shaun Holko alongside two Eagles fans, Kaz Johnson, Kevin Dent. And we're continuing now to the last game that we're going to dissect, and that is the Packers beating the Lions 27-13. And why did I mention that you guys are Eagles fans? Because you are the reigning, defending, undisputed Super Bowl champions, all that good stuff. But also, when it comes to this matchup, the Packers and the Lions, I'd love to see the 49ers competing against the Eagles deep into the playoffs this upcoming season. I can't confidently say that, but I can confidently say that the Packers and the Lions should be in the playoffs this year, trying to upset Philly and take them out. And so I want to hear each of your thoughts on this game as the Packers beat the Lions 27-13. As we highlighted last week, Micah Parsons is now in Green Bay. He made an impact in this game. I heard a next-gen stat that it was basically like when Micah Parsons was off the field, that Jared Goff had like 3.5 seconds to throw. When Micah Parsons was on the field, Jared Goff had like 2 seconds to throw. That is a dramatic difference and just explains the impact of Micah Parsons. I know, as I noted on last week's podcast, my friend Bob, who's a Cowboys fan, he was making all these excuses as to why it was good for them to trade Micah, that he didn't show up in the playoffs. But to get to the playoffs, you have to make an impact in the regular season, and that's exactly what Micah Parsons does. And so, anyways, Packers, they win this one in convincing fashion. I mean, the final score looks a lot closer than this game actually was, as the Lions got a miraculous touchdown catch late in this game. And so the Packers beat the Lions 27-13. Kevin, I'll throw this one to you first. What was your reaction to the game? And also, does this kind of raise some eyebrows for you about the Packers when it comes to yourself as an Eagles fan?
As far as the Packers as an Eagles fan, no. Because the Packers still have their problems offensively. We knew coming into this defense for the Lions was going to be a question mark because a lot of these guys were hurt when they made their run. So we're expecting, a guy like Terry and Arnold to come in and step up. Another team from up north. Why can't I think of his name? The edge rusher.
Aiden Hutchinson.
Aiden Hutchinson, yes. So you have Aiden Hutchinson coming back from injury. Guys like Zaire Smith are gone. So this is a whole new defense. Brian Branch is very young. We're ready to see what this defense was made of. So to see them kind of let the Packers walk up and down the field on them wasn't a surprise. The biggest surprise to me was the offense. And I saw a stat after the game that kind of put me at ease after watching the game like that. Jared Goff is 3-17-1 when someone named Ben Johnson or Sean McVay are not calling the plays. And it goes to show that a lot of guys want to say guys like Jalen Hurts and Brock Purdy are system quarterbacks. Jared Goff is the definition of a system quarterback. We've seen guys like Jalen Hurts have multiple different coordinators. So to have you can't be a system guy when you fit into different systems. But it just goes to show that he played really well in two systems. And without those systems, without those play callers, they're really at all. They were known for their trick plays. They're known for the hook and ladders. They didn't have that excitement. They didn't have that get to them, It just didn't look like it. They said, we're going to run the ball 1,000 times to Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery and hope to see something else happen. They were going to Amon-Ra early and often, but they kind of went away from it. Same from Laporta. They have all of these weapons. They have Jameson Williams. You have to – as an offensive coordinator coming in from a team that just got – their OC the previous year got a head coaching job, I believe it's one of the easiest jobs in the world. You just saw what worked. You don't have to fine-tune it too much, though. The roster offensively is the same. You don't have to change too much, and they did it completely. The Lions are really big known for the Sonic and Knuckles, and it was really just Sonic. The differential and snaps that Gibbs had from Montgomery was completely different. So to have a team like the Lions and you change everything about them goes a long way. So now you're asking Jared Goff to go from a game manager to a gunslinger. And I don't know if that's his best role. When they were down last season, he was able to make some magic happen. But Jared Goff is never going to be the guy to throw you back into a game. He'll maintain the game. He'll keep you going. But I don't think Jared Goff is ever going to be the guy to turn that switch for you guys. So from a Packers standpoint, defensively look phenomenal. When you have a guy like Micah Parsons and you still have guys like Rashawn Gray, and they have a lot of good guys around them. They have a solid other 3D linemen, and that's what we didn't see in Dallas with him. When it came to Dallas and Eagles week, if you double team Micah, you're not worried about Dexter Lawrence. You're not worried about anybody else on the other side because you have to guard Micah Parsons. Penei Sewell had no time to prepare for this game. Micah Parsons was questionable up until kickoff. So it was his first game going against him, so it was rough. Shaun mentioned the stat having when Micah's on the field is 2 seconds, when he's off the field is 3 seconds. So to not have that familiarity with a guy like Micah Parsons, he's a game changer for a reason. They didn't make him the highest paid non-quarterback ever because he just looks good. He's a really good football player. To have him really thrown into that fire early shows why they paid him all that money. And the Packers defense is going to be able to hold them through. So as long as that offense can stay healthy, we can see Matthew Golden, Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, Romeo Dobbs. We can finally see this wide receiver core put something together. They're going to be a scary team. But as far as an Eagles fan, how do I feel? Like I said, the offense is going to have to put it together because if you can't score, it's going to be hard to win games.
Before we get Kaz's reaction to this game in the NFC North, I wanted to make a quick introduction because now joining us from his new humble abode, none other than Mr. Jaevon Toddy, a.k.a. the Podfather. Welcome. Say something for the audio-only listeners. Thank you. Oh, my gosh.
How are we doing?
We're doing well. This is my first episode with Toddy with no dreads.
I'm not ever going to get used to it. I ain't going to hold you, bro. It's going to take a while.
Yeah, it's going to take a minute.
I know, it's crazy. A lot of new beginnings, new everything. 1-0, we're feeling everything. Everything's all right. Everything's just new. It's brand new. We're trying to be grown. That's all. That's the motto. So we're talking. We're talking Pack Lions.
Yeah, we already covered the first two games. Now we're on Packers and Lions. But real quickly before we continue with the NFL discussion, since we brought up your hair, Kevin, you remember on the last podcast that we were all on together? I don't even remember what you and Jaevon were talking about, but I think it was something related to basketball, and you guys disagreed, and you were like, "All right, let's make a bet." And then you were like, "I want your hair," and Jaevon was like, "No." Jaevon, did you know that you were going to cut your hair at that point? Because
I already knew I was going to cut my hair, but I wasn't going to announce it to the world. It just wouldn't make sense.
If I were you, I would have taken that bet then, because you just didn't want Kevin to be in possession of the locks.
Yeah, here you go, Kev. I'm gonna mail it to
him. Oh man. Okay, I was just curious about that. And so now, Toddy, we'll have you give your reaction to Packers and Lions in a moment. But Kaz, just sticking with the same discussion that we were just having. Did this game raise any eyebrows for you when it comes to being an Eagles fan as far as a potential threat in the NFC playoffs?
Not really. Respectfully, not like I don't think we're gonna just roll over every team we play against. We'll have some tight games, and even in the playoffs, what we did last year probably isn't gonna happen again while we have this same roster before we start our dynasty. But I think that the Packers are definitely a force to be reckoned with. I think that if you don't game plan for that defense and Micah Parsons, you're going to be in trouble. But fortunately for us, we have a guy who literally owns Micah Parsons, and as long as he's healthy, I am not worried about Micah Parsons. I never will be, and that's Lane Johnson, and that's just facts. That's just statistical facts. I am not worried about nothing when it comes to Parsons when Lane Johnson's on the field. So, given there's no major injuries, the Eagles still have a great roster. The Eagles defense is kind of questionable at the moment. We don't really even know what we have. We didn't have our best player on our defense out there week one. We still don't have our secondary figured out on one side of the ball. Like, it's right now, we're just a big asterisk when it comes to our team's identity. But one thing I can say is we still find ways to win because of who our quarterback is, and that's just a real thing, whether you like it or not. Jalen Hurts looked so poised in just the depths of whatever the hell was going on. There was, no AJ Brown for yet another game. What happened, I think, a couple times was the last season. There seems to be a theme when it comes to the Eagles and just one of their superstars not getting involved. Primarily AJ Brown, but even Saquon, he got pretty much shut down for the most part compared to how he was last year. Last year, he probably would have ran for 120 in a couple tutties, or if not at least one touchdown against the Cowboys team that's now without their best player, now without an MVP, or not an MVP, but a future Hall of Famer without a doubt. So the Cowboys defense was supposed to get worse, and honestly, they didn't look bad at all. Again, they shut down AJ Brown, literally shut down AJ Brown. Now, whether that was the play calling, whether that was because they gave up, God knows what, to just Jalen Hurts, like the stupid teams do. Well, let's just make him throw the ball. And Jalen's like, I'll just run it since you guys are gonna play back. Whatever team's plans are with Jalen Hurts, they still ain't got him figured out. That's all I know. And he's pretty much walking around for first down. So for the most part, the Eagles just still seem to me like the more superior team, rightfully so. That Cowboys game should have been out of hand. You get AJ involved. You get Adoree Jackson off the field, for fuck's sake. God damn it, bro. Just put in somebody else. And I think CD has at least 20 less yards. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, give me a break. But that's neither here nor there. The Packers, they look pretty damn good, I won't lie, after week 1, but I'm not getting my panties in a bunch yet when it comes to the Eagles. No, I'm not. And as for the Lions, I think the opposite. I think the Lions will pan out just fine. I don't think that the Lions are just done. I think they'll be a little bit worse than what they were in previous years, but dude, they still got – everybody pretends like this isn't an offensive-driven league, okay? Teams are scoring points nowadays. This isn't 2006. All right, it's not 2008, 2009, none of that shit, okay? You got a high-powered offense, you're causing problems. The Lions just did it. Their defense was dead. They had guys out there, my boy Izzy said it best. They had guys on our defense that run as fast as me and him and move like we do when we're in our 30s. You know what I'm saying? Like, their defense was in shambles, and they still were one of the top teams in the league. And so many other teams do the same thing. So as long as you have a high-powered offense, you do got Sonic and Knuckles. Okay? I am the opposite of what people are toward Jared Goff. I'm not big on stat watching all the time, but I'll tell you what, I will not tolerate any Jared Goff slander. I'm sorry. The dude has put up a shit ton of numbers at his entire career outside of the times that he's been hurt or missed games. The stats are there, and it's not just, brushing up 4,000. I'm talking like 4,500 yard, seasons, 4,300 yard seasons. So the guy can play ball. Okay. You know what, Kevin? You might be right. Maybe he's not the guy who's going to throw you. He can't, throw the team into a win. But I'll tell you what, at any given Sunday, there's going to be some numbers there when it comes to the Lions. So let's not count them out. All right, you got Amon-Ra, you got Jameson Williams, they got Sam Laporta, they got Penei Sewell. It's like, yo, that a lot of teams would love to have that. So I don't know, man. I just think that right now it's just too soon. It's too soon. I need to see it. And again, if I didn't see Jalen look so damn poised for that entire, it looked like he was just like chilling. And every time that Jalen moved the rock, whether it was a throw, whether it was a check down, whether it was a run, it was the correct decision. And you're defending Super Bowl champions, and we were without our best player on defense. No, I'm not going to look at that. Look at the Green Bay Packers performance and tell myself that this is a team that I should be worried about. Again, I'm not taking any team lightly. This is the NFL. We know what happens after a team wins a Super Bowl. It happens almost every other year, right? But what I'll say is this. The Packers right now, kudos to them for going and getting Micah Parsons. Big deal. And he is going to be a major impact. But we're talking about going up against the Super Bowl champions that have barely lost anything when it comes. They haven't lost anything when it comes to their offense. They've only gained. And they barely lost anything when it comes to their defense. And they got guys coming back that are legitimate all-pros. So you got Zach Bond there. You got Jalen Carter, who I believe was snubbed of all-pro honors, if I'm not mistaken. He should have been all-pro, but that's just my opinion. And you got Quinton Mitchell there as well. You got Cooper DeJean there. You got Reed Blankenship there. You got so many guys are going to be coming back. You got Nakobe Dean coming back after from injury. The Eagles have not taken a significant step back to look at a team like the Packers and make me go, oh, shit, I got to be worried about those guys. Not at all.
All right, Jaevon, what was your reaction to the Packers and the Lions as the Packers seemed to dominate this one, 27-13 in Green Bay?
How the Packers -1 in this game. You know, it was pretty convenient for me. I thought just the Packers had a lot of momentum with the Michael Parsons deal, everything that was going on. I know he didn't really play as much. He was kind of like on a pitch count, just trying to get his conditioning back, so on and so forth. I thought Jordan Love looked really poised, made all the throws. Jaden Reed was running wide open. There were some reports about him not practicing earlier in the week, so his health status was up in the air, but ended up playing, balling out. Romeo Doubs, another guy that's kind of been in the news a little bit on if he was going to even come back to the Green Bay Packers this whole entire summer. And Matthew Golden, guy could play. Guy could play some football. And I know Christian Watson is out with a torn ACL. So I said this a few weeks ago that Golden is basically.
Is it me that tripping, or can no one else hear him?
No, yeah, we lost you for a second, Jaevon. Go ahead and speak again.
He's not muted. Yeah,
No,
can't hear
go
you,
again.
brother.
One more time, Toddy.
Where else did you hear anything?
Oh, there you are.
You were talking about Matthew Golden.
Matthew Golden, I said he was going to be getting a lot of the Christian Watson snaps, basically. Watson is obviously out due to a torn ACL, and we're going to see a lot of Matthew Golden in that position, and I think he's going to be an impact for the Packers right away. I think he was one of those slept-on wide receivers in this draft, and he was a first-round wide receiver, and the Packers never drafted a first-round wide receiver, so he's the guy now. So Josh Jacobs is a guy that I would like to let's remind everybody that he's one of the top backs in the league when he is healthy. Once upon a time, he rushed for, I think it was close to like 1,400 yards when he was with the Raiders. That last season he was with the Raiders. As far as the Lions go, I agree with Kaz in a sense of they still have all the players basically that were there last year. Jameson Williams, who just signed an extension, gave me 4 points in fantasy, by the way. 4 points. Just got $83 million. You would think he was going to go out and show why he was going to be that guy. 4 points in fantasy.
Yeah, you still going undefeated like you proclaimed on Instagram?
Sometimes it doesn't
already
go
0-1.
Doesn't go as well as you always play.
When he posted that last week, I was like, brother, why are you lying to people?
I just liked it. I just liked it and waited for that first loss so I could talk some shit.
Fernie, who was his first time ever playing fantasy, so that doesn't help as well.
All right, sorry, Toddy, go ahead.
Jameer Gibbs is still there. Penei Sewell. There's a lot of guys who are making some money, like on this team. Like Jameson Williams just got paid. Jared Goff is making money. Penei Sewell's making money. Obviously, Aiden Hutchinson's going to be due up for a contract. You lose both of your coordinators. So it's all kind of looking like, hey, you guys essentially had 3 head coaches on the roster, and you might take a step back. The Eagles, a couple of years ago, when they started off like 10-0, 11-0, whatever, then they lost the last 6 straight. That was the year that they had lost both coordinators. They had lost 2 coordinators. They had 3 head coaches essentially on the roster at that time, in Shane Steichen and Jonathan Gannon, who are now head coaches of the Arizona Cardinals and the Indianapolis Colts. Took a step back, lost their coordinators. Obviously, they made some good hires. That next year, what happens? Super Bowl. And I think what we'll see from the Lions is they're going to have to like regroup on what their new team is going to look like. The defense was already kind of like, let's watch out for this defense. And they had already lost Aiden Hutchinson. So you have somewhat of a pass rush, but I still think the defense is going to be in question. The offense, yeah, they got to start making things happen because Jared Goff just looked like he was under duress. Nobody was really able to get open. And it looked bad. So a lot of people are jumping off the Lions bandwagon. I'm not going to do that yet. It's just week 1, but these are things to definitely look out for when you lose both of those coordinators in the offseason, heading into a new season with a lot of expectations. So we'll see where they're at. As far as the Packers go in the NFC, I would be afraid if I'm an Eagles fan. Because when I'm watching that Eagles game on Thursday Night Football, who is that? Who is that CB2? That's one thing that I always mention to Kevin. Kevin, who's your second corner? So, we got this guy. We're bringing in this dude. Dory Jackson was getting cooked.
Before you finish,
Quinyon Mitchell was out there. Quinyon was out there doing his thing, but CD was hooping. I get he had a couple of drops. CD gonna do that to anybody. That's just he's a top 5 wide receiver. But I worry about that second cornerback spot for the Eagles in that secondary. The D-line didn't look like the D-line. I get it. Jalen Carter did what he did. It was a little bit. I have some questions on the defense for the Eagles. I don't think it's going to be the same defense that we saw last year. Obviously, they lost a couple of guys getting paid. You win a Super Bowl, people want to start poaching at your roster. Know from experience.
Whenever
you had a couple of guys leave the roster. You got Trey Greenlaw, Hufanga, Ward's gone. I get it.
What do you mean when you lose a Super Bowl, people poach off your roster? You said win.
I didn't say win. You could run.
I thought you said win. I thought you said
when you win a Super Bowl, they poach.
Experience from people poaching at your roster.
I thought you said.
So the defense is going to take a step back.
I'll review the film.
Team. I don't know. I know Eagles fans are going to be like, "Hey, we got all these guys. We got rookies coming in." Defense is going to take a step back. The offense looked like the offense. Jalen's running around, scoring touchdowns. AJ's not getting the ball. It don't matter. We're going to score. Saquon's still back there. I get it. You got Devontae Smith. Goddard was eating. Offense looked all right, but that defense going to take a little bit of a step back.
Toddy, quick question. Who's the Packers CB2?
Don't matter. They gave
or CB1. Hold on. Or CB1. D tackle? Other edge rusher? I didn't know Micah plays all 11. But I mean, hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Micah just does everything. He's the highest paid non-quarterback, so he's going to play corner. He's going to play safety. I'm just saying, brother. You don't know our quarterback team, but you don't know another player on that defense.
I know Kenny Clark ain't there no more.
Kenny Clark ain't there. Xavier McKinney, safety is gonna hoop.
Oh, 2 versus 11. Jeez, the odds just got so much better for the Packers.
You know who else isn't there anymore? Mr. Pack is back, Jair Alexander, who got cooked on Sunday Night Football.
Dude, he was getting cooked, man. The Ravens fans were
pissed.
To
see. Packers fans said, "I knew it. I knew it. I
knew he was too old."
Yeah, and so as we continue here on episode number 157 of Stats Over Politics, Shaun Holko alongside Kevin Dent, Kaz Johnson, and Jaevon. Toddy, I want to get to a couple more comments. As Uncle Manny says, Lions definitely missed both of their coordinators, and I agree, Uncle Manny. I didn't think it was going to phase them as much, but as the guys already said, definitely made a difference in Sunday's game for Jared Goff, the ultimate system quarterback, as Kevin was saying. And Smooth says, it's going to be a good football year. It's only been 1 week with a laughing emoji. Yep, and it's only been 1 week, and the Niners slander is at an all-time high. As now we're continuing here. Guys, let's get to our speedy Week 1 NFL recap, where each of us just quickly go over a game each, about 60 seconds each, and we'll keep it moving by having one of us cover one game each, and just keeping it moving. And so just to start off the week, I know that Kaz and Kevin already talked about this game a little bit, as well as Jaevon right there. But Kevin, I'll start things off with you, as the Eagles beat the Cowboys 24-20.
Real, like Shaun said, we already really debriefed this game. I told Toddy, cornerback 2 problems are screaming, hollering from the rooftop. We put a Batman symbol saying quarterback 2. We need one bad. For all of you guys out there that are mad at Jalen Carter, you can't be mad at him. We knew what he was when we drafted him. He was a hothead. If you're not going to sit here and take the all-pro seasons, you're not going to sit here and take him spitting in Dak's face. I told Alyssa he's due for a 15-yard penalty every 2 games. You take the all-pro seasons, you take the hothead. So Eagles are able to bounce back. After the Super Bowl, we see that banner hang. Dak wasn't able to get away from us, but, if like Toddy said, if CeeDee Lamb catches a couple passes, this is a different conversation. But, 1-0. Now we get to go to Kansas City and see what that looks like.
Speaking of Kansas City, Jaevon, the Chargers beat the Chiefs 27-21 in Brazil.
Hey, man, I was trying to figure out who was going to score a touchdown in this game. My boy Juan, he was a Chargers fan. He said to take the rookie, Omarion Hampton, or he said to take Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen ended up scoring in this game. But I think the story of this game was definitely Justin Herbert. 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. Divisional opponent. They usually lose to them. The real a weird stat was that Harbaugh does not lose season openers, week 1 openers, and that was something that was going around. And the Chargers were plus money, ended up winning. And they are in the first place. What are they tied for first in the AFC West? So are the Chargers going to win the division? I don't know. I'm not ready to count out Patrick Mahomes, but as far as week 1 go, Xavier Worthy goes down early on, friendly fire to from Travis Kelce. So they made a late surge, but got some questions on that defense for the Chiefs as well. I do think Patrick Mahomes will kind of figure out a way to make things happen, but Justin Herbert was looking like a top 5 quarterback the way that he played.
Yeah, he was certainly slicing and dicing up Steve Spagnuolo's defense, which was surprising given that Jim Harbaugh's specialty is running the ball. And Kaz, the Cardinals beat the Saints 20-13.
Yeah, I think it was expected. I mean, the Saints, we all knew coming into the season, they were without a quote-unquote quarterback, and they just looked like a team without a quote-unquote quarterback. Didn't really see much of this game. I wasn't really too interested in this game, but just from like a fantasy, just from a fantasy football perspective, I was like, I drafted I'm in 4 leagues. I got Marvin Harrison Jr. in 3 of them. Okay. And I was telling everybody, I was getting like kind of late-ish. I'm like, dog, his projection on the season, like for this, like for fantasy football, is like 300-ish more yards than what he had last season. So they know something. So I'm like, why is everybody out on them? Well, Kyler Murray can see over the offensive line. I'm like, I'm tired of this shit, bro. So I'm like, man, go ahead and open up, man. Just put it to him real quick. Let's get the fuck out of here. So I was all on the Cardinals. Who are the Saints? The Saints are nobody. I don't think that the Saints are going to be good probably for another 2 or 3 years, honestly, until they figure some shit out with their quarterback. On top of that, they'll be losing probably what's his name? Alvin Kamara. No, Kamara here soon. He's getting old, man. So
they just signed to a 3-year deal, no?
So 2 or 3, 1 or 2. But what I'm saying is, realistically, it's the decline. This is it for Kamara. So we're gonna see him get some touches, look nice at times, but that Saints team, he's not gonna be the Kamara to change that Saints team into a contender. So just expected, man. I think the Cardinals will be a team. If Kyler pans out in the next year or 2, they could win some solid games. I won't say they'll be a contender, but they could win some solid games. So just expected. I wasn't nervous about this game at all.
I'll take this next one as the 49ers beat the Seahawks 17-13. And this game was way more stressful than it needed to be. The biggest reason why was because of Jake Moody, the guy who should have been cut from the 49ers last season. Kyle Shanahan said today, after the news came out this week, that the 49ers actually did cut Jake Moody. And Kyle's reaction was, it wasn't much of a decision. It shouldn't have been a decision last year. Like, why did it take you this long? He proved to you as a rookie that he was inconsistent. He proved to you in his sophomore year that he was broken mentally. He should have been gone. He's already lost you enough games. He almost lost you this game. Granted, the blocked field goal necessarily wasn't his fault, but to start off the game with a chip shot field goal clanked off the crossbar, I was talking about this earlier with the Bills and Ravens game as they got into field goal range and they were like, let's run out the clock, chip shot field goal to win it. If you're a 49ers fan, you don't do that. You go for the touchdown no matter how much time is left on the clock because they could not trust their kicker. Now they've replaced him with Eddie Pinheiro, who said that he chose the 49ers over the Falcons because he's ready to win. Eddie, please just make a damn field goal. We're not asking much from you. And so Please,
Just do
like
your job.
49ers.
Do your job.
Just do your job.
And exactly, like the 49ers went from Robbie Gould, who was like the peak of kickers, always could count on him, ice in his veins, 55-yard field goal at the buzzer to win it. He got it, no worries. And then they fell off a cliff to Jake Moody, a guy who they wasted a third-round pick on. And let's not forget the university that he came from. I'm always going to bring that up because the team up north produced a bust of a kicker. Thanks a lot. And I just had to get that off my chest because that's been pent up about Jake Moody for like over a year now.
You can see the emotion that he causes to not. You can see what it brings out in us. It brings out.
Yeah, because I'm
not asking for much.
No, we're not. Just do your job. Exactly. I mean, I'm usually cool, calm, and collected. When it came to Jake Moody, I was done last season. Just so to see him come back this season, I'm just glad that they finally came to their senses and that we don't have to deal with him for the rest of this season. Other 49ers news, I know I'm going over my minute here, but I just want to cover a lot that's happened with the 49ers, is George Kittle injures his hamstring after he scores a touchdown on the opening drive. He's now on IR, out 4 to 5 weeks. I thought we left the injuries in last season. Oh, thank you, Kevin, for your tiny little violin. When it rains, it pours with the San Francisco 49ers, and the injuries just don't stop because it's not just George Kittle. It's also Brock Purdy, who has a toe injury and a left shoulder injury. And now Brock Purdy hasn't gone on IR, but he's likely going to be out 2 to 3 weeks, and he's not going to be playing Sunday. So we get to experience the Jones experience.
Request on 256, by the way.
Yeah,
already out week 2.
And Brock, even probably playing hurt at that point, Brock led them on a game-winning drive, and he did it without George Kittle. He did it without Brandon Ayuk. He did it with a banged-up Juwan Jennings. Christian McCaffrey was there.
Russell Gage was out
there. I thought Russell Gage got cut. I guess
he was out there running around.
Okay, and yeah, Jake Tonjes was the guy who caught the game-winning touchdown when he stole that touchdown that could have easily been an interception, and then we're talking about an 0-1 start for the 49ers. So it's like a lot went bad in week 1 for the 49ers, but they won the game, so I guess I can be happy about that. And as Kevin sarcastically said in our group chat, boom! KB, Kendrick Bourne, is back as a 49ers wide receiver. Yay, KB.
Paul George playoff P.
Kendrick Bourne is back. Kendrick Bourne is back.
I'm not as excited as Shaun might be. We need bodies out there.
We need bodies. KB, his peak was in a 49ers uniform.
Me and Kev might have to go to tryouts.
Yeah, we need you guys. But anyways, 49ers win 17-13. Can the injuries just stop? Football gods, we've been punished enough. Like, that's all I'm asking. Do your job. Get a better athletic trainer. That's what it seems like we need as 49ers.
One thing I do want to mention before we move on, Shaun didn't mention it. Christian McCaffrey had 30 touches in this game. That lets you know how trembled and beat and broken we are. Wide receiver, running back, and how much he means to the team. Now, is he going to get 30 touches every game? I pray not.
Yes.
Because Kevin's like, oh, he is. It's not going to stop here. Because who else you got out there? That was really the only option that we had. And we had Ricky Blake, obviously late, and Tonjes. Jesus Christ. But the 30 touches worries me on his. Oh, by the way, my calf hurts 3 days before the game. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. We're on to New Orleans.
And real quickly, Tyler Bacca asks on YouTube, thoughts on Matt Breida? I mean, Matt Breida was a guy that the 49ers brought in the end of his career, just like Kendrick Bourne. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. His best years were as a 49er, but then he retired in the middle of August. The 49ers acquire Brian Robinson Jr. All is right in the world. Thanks to Matt Breida for a great NFL career, specifically when it came to on the 49ers, or maybe not great, a good NFL career, specifically when he was on the San Francisco 49ers. So thanks for your patience, everyone, as I had to take a moment there for the San Francisco 49ers. Kevin, if you could continue for us, the Colts shocked the Dolphins 33-8 in memory of their late owner, Jim Irsay.
Brother, it might be time. it might be time to just wipe your hands with it. McDaniels, trade Tyreek back to Kansas City. You're stuck with Tua because that cap hits almost $100 million. We saw the Broncos eat 85, and we thought that was crazy. Could you imagine another $15 million to eat? Mike McDaniels made this offense solely for Tua, and when Tua doesn't play well, when it rains, it pours. To see the Colts just come out here and dominate.
Get hurt in this game?
You said what?
Did Waddle get hurt in this game?
Yeah, but he came back.
Okay.
I mean, Achane had a touchdown late. They had a 2-point conversion late. This Miami Dolphins team has a lot to figure out. And I don't know if Mike McDaniels has a job come Thanksgiving. So it's either figure it out now or pack your bags. And with all Tyreek Hill's off the field news, it might be better off just getting rid of him. He's had 130. The last time he had a 30-yard completion was the first game last year. Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, and I thought that I was getting a steal drafting Tyreek Hill in the 3rd round of my fantasy draft, but apparently he should have been taken in the 30th round. Yeah, Kaz, you too, unfortunately. And as we keep things moving, I'm about to get to Jaevon next, but since we were talking about the Dolphins, and as Kaz was saying in our comments last week, apparently it was snowing in Indianapolis when Miami and Mike McDaniel was in town, and I'll leave it there. Jaevon, the Raiders beat the Patriots 20-13.
So I called this game. This was definitely, I think this was the only game that a dog won outright. The Raiders were plus 120-ish on the road. I just trusted veteran quarterback Geno Smith, veteran coach Pete Carroll on the road, young quarterback, new system, Drake May. I get Mike Vrabel is going to be one of those tough outs later on down the line. Just wanted to see what he'd look like year 2, new system. I didn't really trust it. Max Crosby was getting after it. Brock Bowers went out in this game, but he had like 100 yards in 3 quarters. That's insane. Okay. He's pretty good at football. I think he's the best tight end in football. He went early in our fantasy draft, stats over politics draft. So I think that just showed you how good of a talent that he actually is. Wanted to go back in the game. Team held him back and said, let's hold you back a little bit. Genty wasn't as effective, but scored a touchdown in his first game. I think we'll get to see him a lot more moving forward. I think he's going to be the modern. They're going to use him kind of like how Marshawn was used in that Seattle role when Pete Carroll was there. As far as the Patriots go, where's Stephon Diggs at? Got $90 million. I didn't even know that he played until I heard. I was like, yeah, Stephon, he's got to play better. I'm like, he played? Like, I didn't know he was healthy. I didn't know he was running around out there. Keyshawn Boutte made a lot of good plays. Pop Douglas was out there making plays. I think Drake May had a really bad turnover in this game, but
awful.
I just think that what needs to happen he's got to just got to tighten up the screws a little bit. I think Vrabel will be able to rein them in. I don't think the Patriots will be as bad as they were last year. They might double their win total, which is not saying as much because they won 4 games last year. They could win 7-8 games. I think that shows improvement, but got to see more from this Patriots team. I think the Raiders are going to be a tough out for a lot of people. They could win 9-ish games. Geno won 10 games last year, so we'll see where they're at. Watch out for the Raiders this year. Shout out to our boy Sham Commit.
We will see where they're at. As Kaz, another NFC East battle, the Commanders beat the Giants 21-6.
What do you want me to say about this?
I
mean, they kicked 3 field goals, right? That was it. No touchdowns. I don't even know, bro. Man, and Debo is not back. The Giants just fucking suck. No, the Giants suck. They are terrible. They're bottom of the barrel, terrible. And I'm not saying this because I'm an Eagles fan. I'm just calling a spade a spade. Get my boy Malik Neighbors the fuck out of there, dog. He should not be there.
This is the second year.
I don't, you know, you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. He should not be there.
Free Malik.
You know what I mean, god damn, bro, that's just sad. You know what I'm saying? First, they did it to Odell. You know, Odell balled out though when he was there, so I can't really, you know. And Malik, he gonna ball out, man. But fuck, man, that dude was on the sideline going at it with.
They need a quarterback change, guys, already.
Oh my god, Okay, maybe go ahead and put in Darty Boy. I don't think it's going to change much, but listen here.
Darty Boy.
Listen.
Darty Boy is insane.
Malik Neighbors, year number 2 on the Giants, where you know you're on a shitty franchise, like a really bad one, without a doubt. Going at it with the ball, it looked so bad. It looked bad. That was not a good look. So I expect him to get the ball a lot, and he's going to get the ball and probably until he gets hurt if he does get hurt this season. I don't wish that on him, but I'm just saying. I feel like they're just going to say, all right, fuck it. Here you go. Boom,
Didn't
boom,
he have
boom,
like
boom,
100
boom.
catches last year?
Perfect for Kevin's fantasy team.
He had a lot. He balled out. He outperformed every rookie last year. It was him, Brian Thomas Jr. It wasn't Marvin Harrison.
It was Brock Bowers.
Brock
No.
Bowers was in there.
Not receiving, receiver.
Catches.
Yeah, just
Brock
receiver.
Bowers had the most catches.
No, not tight end, like just wide receiver.
Oh, just wide receivers. Oh, yeah.
It was him and Brian Thomas. Yeah.
Him and
Yeah,
Brian Thomas.
So like, I mean,
team in college.
yeah, he's gonna do what he's gonna. If they want to have any sort of money come to that organization, fans going there and buying tickets and filling up as much as they can in that shitty ass stadium, give Malik Neighbors the ball. But no, man, that was expected. You meant the Commanders, as much as me and Kevin do like to give them some bullshit, they were in the NFC Championship game last year. Okay, the Giants have no idea what the fuck that's like. I mean, they don't, and don't even bring up. Well, what about 2008 and whatever 7, whatever? I don't know. That's too long ago. Okay. They're turning into the Cowboys. Okay. They're turning into the Cowboys, but not as bad because they know they're bad. So they're not talking about how they used to be good. They kind of let it go. But yeah, man, I mean, I'm not picking the Giants to probably win no more than 3 games this year. They're terrible. They're until they change something. Maybe it's the quarterback. I don't know. I don't really care. That organization is terrible. Really, really bad. So I'll say it again. Free Malik. Man, get him out of there. I don't know how. Get him the fuck out of there. Somebody go ahead and just pay for the rest of his rookie contract. I don't know how it even works, but pay for everything and get him out of there. The guy's ready to win.
And the Steelers beat the Jets 34-32. I'll take this one as Aaron Rodgers resurrection, I guess. 22 of 30, 4 touchdowns, 244 passing yards, and he leads the Steelers to a shootout win in New Jersey against the Jets. And you know that I can't talk about a Jets game without talking about my guy, as I am the founding member and president of the Justin Fields fan club. Everyone wants to hate on Justin Fields. Quite efficient.
I'm back in, Shaun.
Oh, are you really?
back
My
in.
vice president who dropped out. He's back? Oh my gosh. Welcome back, Jaevon. Well,
Picked them up
Justin
in
Fields.
fantasy.
Hey, I appreciate it. Well, we'll have you on a interim basis right now, Jaevon, while you still
There we go.
decide
Trial
whether
period.
or not.
Oh, hell
Yeah,
no.
you
I
want-
know he's going to talk about the Justin Fields fan club.
Oh,
I'm
I
back in, Kev.
already have been. I already have been when you stepped away.
The door's
Javon
closed,
said-
Scotty. You can't get
Yeah,
in.
Jaevon said that he's back.
I'm back in on the trial period. Trial rep.
Well, Justin Fields, quite efficient, even in a 2-point loss, 16 of 22, 218 passing yards and a touchdown. I mean, that ain't bad. That's all I'm saying. That ain't bad.
I want to know when's the last time he threw for over 205 yards.
I don't think he's. Ooh.
Great question.
I would say 200, but I feel like he probably snuck a stupid ass 201 yard
201.
game in there. So I'm saying 205. When's the last time Justin Fields went for
I am on
205 yards?
the search.
Search that
That-
up. I got to know that.
It's got to be.
That's
in
a great
Chicago.
question.
I
Yeah,
think
probably.
He bowled out on like a Monday night football game. I remember in Chicago a while ago. Eberflus was head coach.
The number was 2.
205. Last time we went over 205 because I feel like he probably had a stupid 201 game or something there, 200 on the money. So let's go 205.
Not that being the median, though, but
I mean,
picked him
yes.
up. I picked him up in fantasy. Purdy was my quarterback.
Last season versus the Colts.
How many
He
games?
was
The Steelers. Oh yeah,
What?
that's when everybody was screaming that Justin Fields
You
was
threw
back.
for 312.
What week was that?
That was like
Had to
week
be
3.
early because I remember when Russ was supposed to be a starter and then Russ came back.
7? Week 7, yeah. That was the week
Okay,
before.
all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Enough. I bet he's got maybe one more of those in the last 4 years. Okay, so or 3 years. So
All right, let me get back to scrolling.
Oh my God! Stop disrespecting Justin Fields. This was supposed to be a Justin.
I'm not
Fields.
trying to rope it down, bro. He's not
He threw
good.
for 245.
All right, I'm done. I'm wrong. Stats over politics. All right,
They need
there
to
you
play
go.
again.
There's the stat.
Hey, Russell Wilson should not have started for the Steelers. The Steelers would have actually competed last year.
The Steelers let
late in
go of the
season.
wrong quarterback.
I actually
But, I
agree
mean,
with that.
yeah, Aaron
I remember
Rodgers.
4-0, right, with Fields? 4-0
Yep,
last season?
yep.
Yep, I remember. What if it ain't broke, don't fix it. What the fuck wrong with
Right?
you, bro? Ain't nobody give a fuck about this motherfucker. Man,
But when
all right.
Russ came back and hooped against I think it was the Jets, they were like all in the press conference. They asked Tomlin, that's why they paid me the big bucks.
Yeah, well,
That's why they paid.
Get Russ out my goddamn face, bro.
Yeah.
well, you know, at this point, the Steelers have Aaron Rodgers for at least a season, probably only a season, and he looked pretty good in game one. He got his revenge against the Jets and the entire organization. And I saw the New York Daily News headline on the cover of their paper on Monday. It was like, oh, so now he can play. That's typical New York slander right there. As we're keeping things moving here on episode 157 of Stats Over Politics. Kevin, the next game is I don't know. Are you still in on this team even though your guy Dougie P is gone? The Jags beat the Carolina Panthers 26-10.
You bet your ass I am. Travis Hunter. I'm here for it. Brian Thomas.
Kevin, did you pick the Jags to win the division?
Hell no. I'm not into it. Actually,
I thought somebody did. I think
it might have been me.
I think it was you, and I think that I went Texans.
I didn't know Andrew Luck
right
was going to come back out of retirement and play for the Colts. If I would have known that was happening, I don't think I would have chosen him. But Trevor Lawrence can do it. You know, I mean, you're going to come out here and say they're a really good team. They didn't play. They played the Browns, or not the Browns. They played the Panthers. Bryce Young just looked horrendous. What's up, Shaun?
Kevin did pick the Texans, by the way, just for note.
Xavier Legette, I was expecting him to have a really good year with T-Mac coming in, but T-Mac looked as good as advertised. One-hand catches, 15-yard gains, another guy on Kevin's fantasy team. So I'm loving that. Chuba Hubbard couldn't get it going, but this Jacksonville's defense is looking good. Travis Hunter got to get out there for a couple plays. They already came out and said he will be playing more defense next game, so I'm excited to kind of see how this team goes. But I am, for one, not liking them feeding Travis Hunter over Brian Thomas Jr. I think if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They were throwing a lot to him. And if it wasn't for that little bubble handoff, BTJ's days look a lot different. So you got to continue to feed both of them. A lot of teams don't have two dominant wide receivers. So when you have them, you got to keep feeding them. They're young guys. They're still trying to prove themselves. I can see a storm brewing if they continue to do that.
All right, in the next game, Jaevon, the Bengals, my Super Bowl championship pick, beat the Browns 17-16.
Hung on to the Browns is a good thing. I thought Joe Flacco played pretty well in this game. I think his interceptions were deflections. So you could say it was on him, but if you watch the tape back, both of his interceptions were deflected off of his own receivers, and they were intercepted. The Bengals looked Myles Garrett looked very dominant in this game. He had didn't he have back-to-back sacks on Joe Burrow? Almost back-to-back-to-back. So Myles Garrett looked ready to play. I don't think we'll see another game where Joe Burrow puts up 7 fantasy points and Jamar Chase puts up 4 or 5. They'll end up getting it going. I just think usually in these week 1, week 2 games, there's a crazy stat that Joe Burrow was 2-something in the first 2 weeks in his career. So the Bengals usually start off really, really slow. I think it was surprising to Cincinnati fans, hey, we got to win in week 1. So especially off of the disappointing year that they had last year and the crazy year that Joe Burrow had last year, they want to kind of repeat that, but not make the playoffs. Let's do what we did on offense last year. I think I don't think we're all out on the Bengals offense. I think they'll figure out how to get these guys going who signed multi-million-dollar contracts in T. Higgins and Jamar Chase in the offseason. So I think they'll end up getting it going. They just had a slow start. I don't know who they have next week coming up, but I think they'll put up a lot more points than they. If you were to tell me that they only put up 17 points and won, if they only put up 17 points last year, that wouldn't have been enough. 17 points last year would have been we lost by 3 touchdowns. So for them to only give up 13 and score 17 in this game, this has to be a good upside for that Bengals defense.
Yeah, Jaevon, you nailed it, because who would have thought Joe Flacco would outduel Joe Burrow 290 passing yards to 113. And like you said, the defense only allows 16 points in this game. And that was so significant that the ESPN headline on this game was Bengals defense leads the way to 17-16 win over the Browns in opener. Yeah, the Bengals defense led the way to a win. I'm just saying, my Super Bowl pick, it ain't terrible. It ain't terrible if their defense shows up, because Joe Burrow is not going to throw 113 yards every single week, like Jaevon was talking about with the fantasy points of him and Jamar Chase. So, something to be noted. Kaz, we're taking it to the NFC South now, as the Buccaneers beat the Falcons 23-20.
Okay, I picked the Falcons in my little weekly predictions to win this one, to pull off the upset. No specific reason. I'm just like, you know what? I mean, the Bucs got our number, so I can't really say anything bad about the Bucs. They beat the shit out of the Eagles every time we see them. But
okay, the shit out of the Eagles is kind of crazy.
But they beat us. They beat us, dog. Them games are controlled. I've watched that game frustrated.
There's controlled belt to ass, and then there's uncontrolled belt to ass.
It wasn't uncontrolled
straight up belt to ass.
Bucks, listen, bro. I watched that game. I'm like, dog, we playing like some dummies, bro. I ain't nothing we can do about it.
Y'all playing this year, guys?
Hell yeah! In about 3 weeks, he's gonna go off about 350 and 4 touchdowns. It's gonna happen, especially if you don't make some changes to that CB2. I'm already looking past it. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm looking past it. May God be with us. But what I'll say is this. I did pick the Falcons to win, man. And I'm like, just because I just, every year, and I'm not going to lie, I look like a fucking fool. I'm always like, this is going to be the Kyle Pitts year. And when I say it nowadays, I don't mean as if he's going to be a tight end 5. Now, I'm not saying that. Top 10, top 5 tight end.
Tight end 50.
I'm just saying he's going to be serviceable, for fuck's sake, man. Like, come on, dog. And I'm wrong every year. It's whatever. He's a bust. Okay, he's a huge bust. I'm sorry. I don't know. He got to go somewhere else. And I don't think it's going to happen. So he's going to just live and die in Atlanta, and that's that. But the better team won. The Bucs are the better team. The Bucs, in recent years, they have a playoff win. They just won their division last year, right? Yeah, they won the division last year. So it's like they've won the last, 2 or 3. Baker's on a tear right now, dog. I'm just calling it what it is.
That's his city. That is his city.
The Duke and ball, he's loved there. They're well coached, and they don't even have the best roster. They haven't had the best roster since Brady was there, and I think that year they just had a really good defense outside of Mike Evans and Godwin. So, other than that, I mean, they had old-ass Leonard Fournette, but, I mean, Leonard Fournette, he had how many good seasons in the NFL without me even looking? What, maybe 2, 3? You know what I mean? Before he became just a regular guy who just can do regular plays and was on a regular team. Brady went there, obviously, flipped the organization because he's Tom Brady, but that defense was good. We're not going to say that they weren't good. So, the Bucs should have won that game, and I'm an idiot for not picking them, but I still think there's some hope there in Atlanta. I do. I think that they have good playmakers. They have a solid defense. Their defense isn't bad at all. I know it's week 1, but from what I saw, I mean, they were only a couple plays away from shit. If Younghoe Koo didn't miss that field goal, that could be a completely different game. So I don't know, man. The right team won. I did pick the Falcons, but the correct team won. The Bucs are the better team. They have the better veterans there. You can't count out Mike Evans, and the Bucs are probably going to win that division again. So way to go in there on the road and win a division game early on. So that pretty much solidified it for me. The Bucs are going to win that division.
Before you move on, just want to mention one guy on the Tampa Bay Bucs. Emeka.
Oh yeah, cold. Hey, oh boy, hey, oh boy,
receiver, you.
Oh boy's cold. I was like, all right, okay. I love these young receivers, man. These young receivers.
I'm a fantasy too. I'm a fantasy team.
On your bench.
Yeah, you know who else is on my bench? Javonte Williams. But let's move past that.
He's there though. You're gonna see the field.
But yeah, no, shout out the Bucs though. Bucs are a good team. Bucs deserve more respect from a lot of people, I feel. So
yeah, Egbuka is a great compliment to Mike Evans and even Chris Godwin. When Chris Godwin comes back and they got the 3 of them, Baker got options. And I mean, that's not
Chris
even talking about
Godwin
Bucky Irving too.
Chris Godwin finna be wide receiver 3.
Yeah, for sure. Play him out of the slot for sure. So I got the next game, and we're going to go with the Rams and the Texans as Los Angeles prevails over Houston 14-9 in a bit of a low-scoring slugfest. Matthew Stafford surpassed 60,000 passing yards in this game. So congrats to him on that achievement. Hopefully, we never wish for injuries here on this podcast. So I'm going to knock on wood and hope that his back is able to hold up all season, even with him being a division rival of the 49ers. And, at least he already accomplished that benchmark no matter what happens in the future. For me, the biggest takeaway from this game wasn't even what happened on the field. I don't know if you guys saw this, but what happened in the stands, I was looking at it today.
Bro, I saw it today. She was leaking.
Yeah, I saw it today too. Because did you see it? Because JJ
America
Watt,
wilding, bro.
Yeah, so JJ Watt quoted Okay, yeah, Toddy, you got to see it. So there was a woman wearing a JJ Watt jersey, and she's walking up the steps at SoFi Stadium, and her whole face is bloodied. Like, her nose is extremely bloodied. And then someone quoted it, or someone tweeted the photo of her or video of her walking up the steps, and they just said, "What a great JJ Watt cosplay," because she's wearing the jersey and she had a bloody nose like he did in the playoff game years ago. And so JJ quoted that tweet, and he said, "Okay, I gotta know what happened here." And so then a bunch of fans started replying to JJ's tweet, and they were replying with the video. It's about a 3-minute video where you see 2 Texans fans arguing with like 4 to 5 Rams fans. And the woman who left with the bloodied nose, she is getting in this man's face, like saying, "What you going to do about it? What you going to do about it?" And she is just like excessively screaming at him. Then an altercation ensues. She swings on some female Ram fans. Apparently, one of the Rams fans that she swung on was pregnant. And so the pregnant woman's sister punches her directly in the nose, fucks her shit up. She ends up getting a super duper bloody nose. And that all started because the male Texans fan who's wearing a CJ Stroud jersey dumps beer on these Rams fans because of the verbal altercation. And so that's what started the physical altercation. Then as the 2 Texans fans are being escorted by security out of the stadium, they're just saying, "Oh, they started it. And it's like, do you guys not realize that you live in the 21st century and everyone has a phone in their pocket that they can record videos? And when these verbal altercations start 5 rows below someone, of course they're going to take out their phone and record the whole thing." And those Texans fans got caught in 4K as the instigators of the fight, not only verbally, but then physically pouring a beverage, not just water, but pouring beer on someone's head. So, of course, there was a reaction, and they got what was coming to them, especially that woman who probably has a broken nose. And that was my biggest takeaway from this 14-9.
Is in your Twitter inbox.
Bruh, let me tell you something. Toddy, Shorty got beat up 4 different times, bro. The shit's funny. It was just one of those ones where it's like, take your L and go home. And she just kept coming back. I'm like, nah, bro. Like,
it's over. Who's gonna tell?
Yeah,
who's gonna tell?
She just kept on coming back. So we got one more game left. Whichever the 3 of you want to talk about this one, since we only got one game left. And so I'll keep an eye on the screen for some volunteers. But the Broncos beat the Titans 20-12. Okay, Toddy, please go ahead.
Yeah, Toddy came late. Let him get some more. Let him get some more work in.
This was the last leg on the parlay, fellas.
Personal anecdote of pain.
We had Broncos minus 8.5. They won by 8 points. Let me give you the breakdown. First of all, as far as the game goes, I thought Cam Ward was a little bit shaky, but he was standing in the pocket, putting the ball on precision. When I say precision, you saw Cam Ward's dad looked a little stressed out. He's got fucking guys dropping the ball and shit. Calvin Ridley, we're paying him all the shit ton of guys can't catch the ball around here. So some questionable calls from Brian Callahan. I thought that Broncos defense showed up. That defensive front looks very, very stout. A lot of people are picking trendy pick for the Broncos to win that division. You get up 8 points. 4th down comes. You're within field goal range. Sean Payton sends out the offense on 4th and 3. I'm like, why would you you're up 8 points. You go out, you run out, you kick a field goal, you're up 11, you're up 2 scores, you give the ball back to Cam Ward. Whoop-dee-doo. It just, you do what you do, right? He sends out Bo Nix. Lines up in the shotgun. Says hike. He launches the ball like 50 yards in the air. What are we doing? They didn't try to do anything. They didn't try to even get the first down. They didn't scheme something up. They just said hike and threw the ball downfield when you could have just kicked the field goal, been up 11 points, you cover the spread. No. So what ends up happening is you give the ball back to Cam Ward in the middle of the field. Like, they could have easily went down and scored and this, that, and the third, but obviously Cam is still a rookie and just very questionable. Like, all you literally had to do was just send the field goal kicker out who was in field goal range. It was like a 40, maybe 48-yard field goal. Like, that's food for kickers down there. Guys are hitting from 70. Guys are hitting from 60, like 48 yards. It took me. I was behooved by the situation. I couldn't believe Sean Payton just did. That was a very questionable call. They ended up winning the game, but the Titans, they have a sneaky good defense. I have mentioned this on previous podcasts before. They were one of the top passing defense last year. I think a guy in Jeffrey Simmons, who was a dog, showed up in this game late, made a couple of plays, did have a really bad penalty that ended up costing, I wouldn't say costing them a game, but it kind of affected a lot of things that happened. Like, the outcome of the game was affected by the penalty. But I think Cam Ward looked pretty poised. There were some questionable drops that he had that could have led to points. There were some questionable calls from Brian Callahan before the half. They could have ended up putting up 3 points. They would have put them up, I think, 9-3. But instead, it was 6-3. They punted the ball. Denver goes down and scores right before the half, and that kind of flips the momentum of the game. So Titans hung around a lot in this game. So the Titans could be sneaky, depending on how their wide receivers will look going forward. But the Broncos, a lot of people like the Broncos. I don't know how good they'll be, but I think they might make the playoffs. But Bo cannot turn the ball over like he did in this game. I will say that. So that's something to watch out for.
No, Bo cannot. Sorry, Toddy. I didn't mean to talk over you there at the end.
They were calling them Bo picks. They were calling them Bo picks.
He's going to continue to be Bo picks if he plays like he did against the Titans. But that's all we got for episode number 157 of Stats Over Politics. Any closing thoughts, guys, before I deliver this outro?
Go Birds.
Yeah.
We're going to be 1-1.
Is your guys' game the night game?
No, 125. We're going to be 1-1, not because we're the worst team, but because no one could beat Patty 3 times in a row. Only person to do that is Joe Burrow, and they want to keep him on that accolade, that pedestal. So
the refs got you.
No, the NFL is going to come down to one play, and they're going to have 1 foot in, and they're going to say, touchdown Chiefs, game's over.
Man, I ain't looking forward to it. I ain't going to hold you, bro. I'm not looking
it's
forward
to it. It's going to happen,
bro.
bro. The Swifties are going to come out there and
just put them away, man. 40-2, something, bro. I don't want to. I swear to God, this game's going to be at halftime, like, I don't know, 13-7, something funky like that, bro. I'm going to hit every second of it. 13-17, 13-16. And I'm like, yeah, this ain't it, bro. You got to put them away. We got to do exactly like what we did in the Super Bowl. That's the only way we win this game. I picked us to win because we're the better team, and we're favored by 1.5 on the road.
See that.
So I'm like, fuck yeah. This was a hard week to pick upsets. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Wait, did Jalen Carter get suspended or he just got fined?
Fuck no, he playing.
He got fined.
No, he technically served his suspension against the Cowboys.
How much they fined him?
A lot.
57 racks?
They fined him exactly 1 game check. It was like $57,222, And Adam Schefter quoted that suspension or that fine tweet. And he was like, for everyone wondering why it's such a specific number, that's the exact amount that Jalen Carter makes in a week.
So technically, yeah, that's 2 games technically. Just one he didn't get to play, the other one he just ain't getting paid.
Well, I thought that I read that he technically served his suspension against the Cowboys.
He did, technically.
Okay.
But
what happened in the second or third quarter, they would have gave him a game.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, he's lucky.
Yeah, he didn't
play a snap.
Yeah, just either way, that's a lot of fucking money, damn. Which I mean, don't get me wrong, that's what deserved. I mean, that's
it. That's
you
people's
can't
yearly salary.
You can't do that, bro. You spit on me, dog. Hey, hold up, bro. I don't care who you are.
You're not punching Jalen Carter.
I got guys. I got a phone. What the hell you mean? I'm making the call, baby.
Who? SWAT?
Tell me. Whoever wants it, motherfucker. I don't give. Hey, listen. You spit on me.
Carter,
Listen.
Billy would stomp you out.
You spit on me, bro. Dak was a bitch. That's all I'm saying. I'm sorry. I gotta do something. Dak got money. Yo, Dak got guys.
You saw what Dak did? He looked at the ref like, "You gonna let this happen?"
You spit on me, bro. I don't care if Dak made the right move. Everybody's like, oh, Dak was a smarter guy. At some point, okay, let me ask all 3 of y'all real quick before we leave. Okay, somebody slaps your mom in the face. You gonna look at the police right away, or you gonna just whatever happens, happens?
Is that guy Jalen Carter? I'm sorry, Mom. What do you want me to do? You want me to have a black eye too?
Listen, I'm wilding out, dog. I ain't winning. Listen,
and Gary Singh. Catch us on week 2 next week for episode 158 on another episode of Stats Over Politics.
Nice
right, brother.
Nice little impromptu outro
man,
right there.
That's hilarious.
Listen, I've heard enough of this shit.
My boy Eric, who's the Eagles fan, said Jalen spits on me. I'll apologize to myself for being in the way. That's crazy, bro.
I'm sorry. You messed with the sidewalk. Let me get the fuck out of your way.
Well, I know we got to get out of here, but Jaevon mentioned it there while you guys were talking about like what you would do if Jalen Carter spit on you. But what Jaevon mentioned is like Dak spit first. I mean, he kind of spit downwards rather than at him. But like, do you guys think that Dak instigated that, or was Jalen Carter just okay?
Nah, Jalen Carter went too far, bro.
He rage baited him in real life.
I mean, bro, listen, man.
He rage baited.
That man walked up in his face and spit pretty much on his neck, damn near, bro. I'm not wired like that, bro. I'm sorry. I'm losing the fight, but something's happening.
Yeah,
so he got spit on, and he about to break your face.
No, come smacking me, dipping out. He ain't catching me, dog. I'm getting a licking. That's all I'm saying. I'm getting a licking.
Whoop-de-doo.
I don't give a damn, bro. You spit.
You look like that girl from the Texas video.
Hey, that's okay.
Okay, well, I know it's time to go. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
my bad. I had to. Oh man. I'm sweating thinking about it.
Yeah, Kaz, just to close things out, to answer your original question, I mean, if someone ran up and slapped my mom, even if it's Jalen Carter, like I'm gonna go down swinging, I'm probably gonna get my ass beat, but at least I can defend my mom or my girlfriend and get one punch in, like even if it's a weak ass punch.
Dollar Bell, stay away from Jalen Carter. Ain't nothing I can do. We gonna be 2 motherfuckers just got slapped, spit on.
Weak, bro.
Look, Mom, look.
Well,
I recorded it. I'm gonna send it to TMZ. We're gonna be rich. You know how much this game is?
There you go.
We're gonna be rich. Ain't no point to spend that money fixing my face.
Ah, shit. That's
Kevin probably wanted to be Dak because Dak makes $60 a year versus Jalen Carter, who's on a rookie deal.
Well, I respect that Kevin's looking at it with his third eye there and thinking outside the box. That's a great way to put it. And there's no other way to end it there. So make sure to give us a like on YouTube. It helps us a lot. If you enjoy the podcast, hit subscribe to get notifications when we go live. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Stats Over Politics and on X at Stats or Politics. See all the great content Kevin's putting out there, and make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on all podcast platforms. If you're enjoying the show, please give us those 5 stars. We'd really appreciate it. As you guys have been tuned in to episode number 157 of Stats Over Politics, for my guys, Jaevon, Toddy, Kaz Johnson, Kevin Dent, and Gary Singh, I'm your host, Shaun Holko. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week on another episode of Stats Over Politics. Peace.